like he fought like a Thai. So like
hear that, Max? You can't get a bigger compliment than that from a Thai person.
I think the mindset of a lot of fighters is they believe they will become popular when they win, right? So they're giving themselves a 9 minutes time to become famous, where they have 24 hours every single day to become somebody.
His style is really affected more so than any other fighter when it comes to 4 rounds gloves versus big gloves. He got knocked out against Tyson Harrison, right? In one championship. He's the Rajadamnern Stadium champion now.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Upper Fight Talk podcast. My name is Anton Pinto, and joining me today is
Aaron at Suri Sompan, back again.
And my name's I run the Muay Thai Testament page. You may or may not know this. I actually work as like a social media admin for Arucha gym. So like, you know, Phil and like...
I didn't know that, no.
Didn't know that.
If you haven't followed Muay Thai Testament, it's an awesome page on Instagram. You should definitely check that out.
Well, this is what I look like, by the way. I never showed my face on camera.
Actually, I'll actually, before we dive into so many subjects, I actually want to give you a brief moment, because if you follow Muay Thai and you want to know about the in-depth of, like, you know, Muay Thai fighters or whatever, man, you gotta follow your page. Talk to me a little bit about your work there. How do you?
So I first started. It's a long story, but I first started on YouTube. I try to like interview fighters, make people know about the fighters more through interviews, and have English subtitles. Didn't really work out. Like I didn't like know how to focus on which market. Didn't really know what I was doing. Just like, trying random stuff, and then so I knew Phil because like who runs is the head man of Arucha gym. Arucha is like one of like the top gyms right now in the country.
Phil's gonna love you, bro.
Shout out Phil.
Petzilla's gym.
Petzilla's gym, like the WMO champion. Lots of champions. So I work with him, and so he helped me find the contacts to do the YouTube interviews with the different gyms. Okay. Without Phil, I wouldn't be here. But like
like a big wow. Okay.
So after that, he told me like I should do his social media, because like he saw that I do the YouTube, and like I am slowly getting better and better. If you check my YouTube channel, like the old shit, so bad, bro.
Well, that's how most people start, right? They just do it and then they learn on the job.
My first videos was me playing video games, so trust me, you're fine. If you go back into my YouTube channels, it's nothing to do with Muay Thai. So
really,
but like for Muay Thai Testament though, you haven't done a lot in the last 6 months.
I worked on Phil's Arucha gym's IG and stuff. So then I had the idea like. So now I know how to use Photoshop, and I know how like to entertain and like know what the people want from the YouTube. Like all the experience culminated, and I'm like, why don't I start an IG page and be like, you know, like Sports Center or like 433 for football, you know, something like that for Muay Thai, and then just went on from there.
Well, you're giving great in-depth information about fighters or fights.
Which was the one that went viral? But was it Boon Long?
Yeah, it's the first one that went viral. Yeah. So I feel like it's sort of even like, it's not a burden, but it's like a bit of an obligation that, you know, I have like the understanding of both like international and local, and I speak both languages. Like hopefully the English is decent enough. And
it's good, very good.
Right.
I speak Thai too, and I understand, like I can read Thai media, I can understand how like the people internationally overseas think and perceive about things. So I feel like I can bridge the gap between that.
Well, that's great. Well, transition, both international and Thai. We had Lamnamoonlek, the Thai fighter who went to fight on an international show.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone was... were they shocked though? Because the fact that we talked about it on the last podcast that he was struggling to get fights on RWS at 135 pounds. So I wasn't that surprised, if I'm being honest, because... he hasn't fought at all this year in 2024. Right. You know, and he's a fighter. He needs a payday.
He's complaining on social media that he's not getting fights. And
well, the issue is, and I think the issue has always been, I don't want to go back to it too much, that Thais don't necessarily want to fight him, and foreigners also are now starting to understand how good he is, but he said he will fight foreigners are up to about 140 pounds. Well, Thais at 135 don't seem to want it.
Well, he did say that, but I do believe it was kind of a mistake, because he just went to Cambodia and his performance wasn't as good as how he usually fights
he fought
in
like
Thailand.
143 or something.
140, yeah, almost 145.
Well, 165 kilos, right?
So
So that's like he's jumped up he jumped up 2 weight categories. He took on a much bigger fighter.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was for I think it was for a belt, they were never going to let him walk out of there as the champion. And I think the people around the ring knew that as well.
Yeah.
You know, after the end, I think a lot of them thought that Lamnamoonlek won. But anyway, it is what it is.
The 2 first rounds, he did pretty bad, if you ask me, compared to how he usually fights. The 2 first rounds, Lamnamoonlek didn't do great, but then he came back like much stronger towards the end, and it was a really good fight. But like you said, I think fighting there.
Well, I think most Thais have said on social media he would have had to have knocked him out to get the victory. Not that I'm being biased or anything, but sometimes that's how it goes.
And I think also we don't really understand the rules, like which rules was that. I don't think
it's Kun Khmer, so it's not even Muay Thai. Yeah.
So nobody kind of knows how you score.
They can be right, they can be wrong.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
from my perspective, I thought he won.
Yeah,
but
I only watched.
I do agree with what you're saying. I don't think it was a smart move going there.
No, I don't think it was at all.
But he's a prize fighter who needs a payday.
Oh yeah,
you know?
I mean, it's good to be great, but if you feel great, but you got no money to eat, then why being so great? You know. So I do understand. But it's sad though.
He might. Do you remember Thananchai back in the day? He had to fight bigger fighters to get fights,
right.
And I feel like Lamnamoonlek might be in that position right now where he might have to consider going up to 140 pounds.
Yeah,
you know,
might need to.
I don't think he's in like that bad of a position as Thananchai was. I think
no. I'm just giving you that as an example. You know, do you remember Thananchai? He had to go up and fight Ken. You know, fighters were 70 kilograms. Even though he won that fight,
and fight like 2v1 fights.
Yeah. He had to. Just saying, I can't find fighters at 135 might not be the case.
Right.
He will have to go up to find fighters who will fight.
I guess we'll see. Again, I think for a long time, a lot of people believed he was the best pound for pound fighter in Rajadamnern. I don't want to talk for you guys, but I believe that. And after this performance, I think it was a pretty bad performance, even though, like you said, I do believe that a lot of people believed, and including me, that he should have won that fight. And now with a performance like this, I don't really know where that puts Lamnamoonlek. So I guess we'll have to see like what's next for him. You know, I think the promotion and everybody has been, I don't want to say build him, but we've kind of put him where we believed he deserved to be. And then after a performance like that, then it's like, wait, where does, like, what now, you know?
You can't really judge him on taking a fight over there. It's 65 kilograms as well, though.
I know,
does that really affect how you see him?
I do believe that a lot of people have been comparing him to the 135 pounds weight class in ONE, right? So it was always the case, like, does he belong in that, at that level? Is he the same level as Rodtang or not? Is he or is he not? But after a performance like that, then it's comparing, like, if Rodtang would have fought that fight, maybe he would have performed better or not. I don't know.
Well, it's difficult to tell, but I still think if you're going to compare him, I think you're saying you're going to compare him to Rodtang and Superlek, right? I still think he's up there with them too.
No, I agree.
I can't see how you couldn't say he's.
Well, I guess we'll have to find out what's the future for Lamnamoonlek.
But I mean, I hope they find him. I keep saying it, but I hope they find him a fight because he belongs under the bright lights.
Well,
you know,
one thing that's for sure though is that they're still having issues on the back end with the gym owner or whatever. So I guess we'll have to wait for them to sort this whole issue out before we can actually get to see, you know, the kid perform how he should. Yeah.
And now, of course, speaking of 135 pounds, we're all looking forward to the fact that it was going to be not Lamnamoonlek, but a very worthy replacement in the fact that Savvas Michael was going to fight for the title this weekend at against Samingdet. But unfortunately, I think a wisdom tooth issue for Savvas means he was unable to fight. So now it's Thongpoon versus Samingdet. Not as exciting.
Yeah, not as exciting,
bro.
God damn it.
They fought each other like 5+ times.
Right.
Yeah. Like they both knocked each other out and stuff.
Yeah. Maybe we should be more excited for it than he is. I think Thongpoon is in good form at the moment.
Maybe we should be more excited.
Well, I know, it's just that the fact that it was going to be Savvas, it was going to be this big event, and it does feel like the glamour's gone off it just a little bit.
Talk about that. Maybe a Savvas Lamnamoonlek would be such an incredible fight if you talk about it.
When was the last time Thongpoon fought? Like, I don't even know. When was the last time Thongpoon fought?
I haven't done my research yet, bro, so I'm not sure. But I feel like it's either a 2 or 3 fight winning streak. And I think he's knocked out a couple of his is it Galgan one?
Oh yeah.
He's knocked him out twice.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, in under a year. So
yeah, didn't look good. Yeah.
But in RWS, I think he's like 2-2. It's something like that.
So another fight that should have happened but didn't happen is Sajad against Max McVicker, who were supposed to fight the past Saturday. Unfortunately, Sajad had to pull out for a micro knee injury, he stated on his own media. That sucks. That's a fight that a lot of people wanted to see. That's a fight I want to see.
I think a lot of people around the world, especially, of course, Australia, and I'm sure Iranians would have loved to have seen that fight. But I think after Max's performance, I mean, we were talking about how good he fought.
And what a performance.
And we know how good Sajad can be as well. Yeah, that is a mouth-watering fight right now.
The thing with Max's last fight, like, we all knew, like, he fought a replacement. So, like, people, like, he was always the favorite going in.
Yeah.
But the thing that surprised me is, like, how he fought the other guy. Like, he fought like a Thai. So, like...
that, Max. You can't get a bigger compliment than that from a Thai person.
So the thing is, like, you know how, like, in Thailand, like, if you like, fight traditional rules, if you are in the clinch and then the other guy takes your back, then you're done. Like, Max actually, like, tries to do those things.
Yes.
Where, like, the normal Muay Farang style, like, they wouldn't really care. So, like, and, like... For example, like when Max sweeps the other guy down to the ground, he actually like just does the walk around.
Yeah.
Like, that's a very Thai thing to do. So like, I'm a bit confused, like, because I don't think Max has like a name in like the traditional circuit.
No, I don't think he does.
So where does he learn that?
Well, that's the thing though. I to answer that, and I believe that if Joe was here, he would say that Muay Thai in Australia is huge, man. And they have so many great fighters, but like we talked about it on the previous podcast, Australians don't often get to fight outside of Thailand. And I guess we're slowly finding out how good Australian fighters are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Max is just, a reflection of that.
Well, this was it. 2 weeks ago, we were talking about, the best countries with the best Muay Thai scene. And Australia is definitely up there.
Yeah.
I think Joe, who was sat there, missed the trick, to be honest.
Yeah, to be honest.
Because every week, you're talking about the fighters, but let's just talk about the scene.
Right.
Every week, there's a really, really top-level event in Australia and in England as well. Every week where you get to see like a really, really outstanding main event. Right. And you can see what they usually have on these shows in England and Australia. They'll have lots and lots of amateur fights as well on the undercard. So I think it's part of like packing out the stadium and utilizing the venue to the best of its ability as well. So yeah, the scene there, it's growing. And, and you can see fighters like Max, who's only 22 years of age, coming out of that scene.
That's really interesting though, because like obviously in Thailand right now where it's more shifted towards going international. So a lot of the culture is being stripped from the sport in the version that people want to present towards the international audience. However, people in the international audience wants to be as Thai as possible. So I feel like it's a bit contradictory, you know what I mean?
That's a beautiful point. That really is so true as well, because you're right.
Because like when you look at like, well, Lumpinee is more of a studio. They want to like promote and like have no like Y crew and a lot less at least. While Rajadamnern is more traditional, more Thai. However, all the foreigners like to go to Rajadamnern and all the Thais are trying to get tickets to the ONE Lumpinee shows. Like,
That's so true. It's amazing. That's so true.
Like we're speaking facts here, right? So like it's so
absolutely
weird.
We are.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So what went wrong?
Well, maybe we are at a crossroads right now.
Yeah.
Where we're going to find out in a few years what actually does work. But it's sort of like that, like to go away from Muay Thai across the globe. Some people, they like globalization. They like the fact that there's a McDonald's everywhere. They feel a bit more safe about it. But other people, when they go to a different country, they like to embrace the culture, right?
Right.
So I think if you want...
Man, that's also a great way to put it.
Yeah, if you want Muay Thai to grow, are we looking at globalization? Are we looking to make everything standardized so everyone enjoys it? Or are we doing what RWS is more doing, is the fact that it's like, this is Thailand, this is Muay Thai.
I do believe that they both want to become, ONE and RWS, they both want to become McDonald's, but in their own way. I guess.
Well, I think neither of them want to be McDonald's,
Well,
but,
yeah.
but I'm not. But I feel, but the not looking down at McDonald's, but
Right.
it is an absolutely successful brand, right? And it's given employment to lots of people. There is success.
Yeah.
And I think probably that fits what ONE is trying to do, right?
No, for sure. But I think, but going back to that, I do think that, RWS also wants to become a global brand, but in its own way in promoting the traditional Muay Thai and keeping that whole culture behind Muay Thai and not necessarily doing what ONE is doing, at saying, well, look, I want to take Muay Thai to the global stage, but in with doing that, we're gonna have to cut off a part of the culture because people don't want to learn about the culture.
The thing is, if you want more eyes on the sport, maybe they have got it correct. I prefer to embrace the culture, which I think RWS is promoting, right? Like, this is Muay Thai, and we embrace it. Everyone, look, this is the music, this is the live band. You know what Beer does before the main event. But maybe there are people out there who are like, I don't want to watch the Y Crew. I don't want to listen to the music.
The scene right now is extremely scattered. So like everyone is on their own conquest in promoting Muay Thai their own way. So
we talked about this before. Like a lot of foreigners when they come to Thailand, probably Thai people as well, have the same thing where Muay Thai should be bigger, right? Joe Rogan even said it on his podcast. Muay Thai should be bigger. Yeah. So people get this idea in their head. I know how to make Muay Thai bigger. So maybe it's bang from RWS. Well, what we'll do is we'll embrace the culture and we'll, make it as fun as possible in the stadium with a little bit of a Western twist. I mean, or maybe it's Shatri. Well, maybe we can just skip the Y Crew. Maybe we can get rid of the music and just make it all about the art of it.
Yeah, so like my point that I was saying is that I was going to lead up to is that with everyone going on their own trajectory, on their own conquest of how to promote Muay Thai with their own take, would it take away from like the actual name of Muay Thai? Because now there's no substance, there's no basis. So everyone is now doing their own thing. And at the end, when everyone does their own thing, the last question is going to be, what is Muay Thai? And it's going to be hard for people to truly be a fan of the sport because like at least in football, every single league, they do like their own like little twist.
Yeah, that's what
the first podcast that we spoke about exactly this.
Really?
And Antoine was saying exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Where people are might be getting confused.
Right? But also...
But on the flip side of that, look at us. We're talking about an industry now that we're seeing growing because there is this,
this conflict,
and it's creating, not enemies, but it's creating like
differences, I guess.
Yeah.
But also
you've got a choice.
Yeah.
You've got choices.
But when you talk about that, if you talk about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? You're supposed to wear a gi to do it. There's supposed to be certain rules, right? Now, people have never really heard about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu before MMA on a global stage.
For sure.
Whenever they go to the ground, people talk about Jiu-Jitsu, even though they're not wearing a gi, even though you don't know the whole culture about Jiu-Jitsu, and yet we'll still say, oh, this is Jiu-Jitsu. So is it not actually helping the sport? Maybe taking away certain aspect of the sport, but because people will hear this is Muay Thai, there might not be Waiku, there might not be certain part of the outfit wearing it, but it's still Muay Thai or not. I don't know.
Yeah. And it was funny as well because, a couple of weeks ago when Kumandoi knocked out Petchyindee, it was Petchyindee from ONE Championship who actually instigated a chat, didn't he?
Right.
That went round Thailand saying, I wonder what would happen if Kumandoi took on Prajanchai.
Yeah.
I think that was an interesting point where, actually, like, these two companies
could there supposed to be going ever be again, a cross?
Could there be a cross
company? Do you believe it's possible?
No, I don't think so. How would it work? One MMA glove and one big glove.
Yeah,
because like we were just saying, everyone has their own ideas of what Muay Thai is.
Right.
So like it's like they both use the same Muay Thai, but it's like two different products. Yeah, like even if like they tweak their own rule sets to be as similar to the other as much as possible, they're like two different fan bases. Like so right now with Muay Thai, there's no Muay Thai fans. It's like fan of the traditional Muay Thai circuit where they gamble.
Yes.
Or fans of ONEs or fans of RWS or fans of like certain fighters only. So that's what I'm saying.
But do you not think there are fans who enjoy watching it all? Or at least trying to critique and understand it all?
There are, obviously, like us
three. Yeah, of
but
course.
It is so hard to get into this deep into the sport to be able to understand the sport. So I feel like in order for a sport to grow, it should be as easy to understand as possible.
So with you saying that, which one is harder to get deep into it? The traditional one or
So I feel like to understand it to this level, you need to understand all of them. So because especially right now, where in like ONE has an RWS, both have like the top fighters, you know, and all of them are either RWS champions, RWS tournament fighters, or previous RWS tournament fighters, or ONE Lumpinee fighters who are trying to get the contract. So like you can't just learn traditional circuit without learning the other, because they use the same talent pool. But if you only learn what ONE championship is, or what RWS is, or what any other promotion is, then you don't really follow Muay Thai. So the only.
But I mean, just in comparison between RWS and ONE, like which one do you believe is easier for a new viewer to actually understand?
If an alien fell from the sky,
I feel like,
and you had to sit him down and say which one do you want to watch? Which one do you like?
I feel like
the best?
ONE Lumpinee made it a bit easier to follow ONE, because now you just watch ONE Lumpinee and then, oh, this guy is trying to get the contract. This guy's like sort of close. Like we don't have really a way to calibrate, but this guy's close to getting a contract. This guy's on a win streak. This guy got a bunch of knockouts. He's now in main ONE. If you watch RWS, you have to understand, like either you just watch and enjoy the fights and then you just remember certain fighters that come back frequently, or you have to dig deep into the stadium circuit and, Petchyindee is fighting for the first time.
That is an issue that RWS that ONE championship
I agree, though.
doesn't have.
That's a really good point.
How many times over the last few weeks have we seen a title fight, and it's the first time that we've seen the fighter compete, because they're taking them from, like they deserve the title shot because they are the best, but we haven't seen them on RWS before. Whereas ONE, they like building and building and building.
It's an obstacle in promoting, because like the English-speaking fans, or like fans from overseas, they're not going to dive deep into like the traditional circuit, the 5-round circuit. So they're not going to know these guys before they fight on RWS. Now there's these random guys that they never heard of before. They don't know how they fight. They don't know who they are, what their form was. They're fighting for the title. So it's going to be hard for them to understand the value these titles actually hold.
But that's also talking about the long run, right? It's like a follow-up of the sport. But we're talking about, you know, a brand new fan that's never watched any Muay Thai, put them both into these two different companies. Which one is actually easier to watch and understand and more enjoyable, I guess, in your opinion?
That's very subjective. It's really depends on.
Bro, you're being very politically correct right now.
So if they're an MMA fan, they're gonna get ONE easier. Okay. Obviously.
Because of the gloves, maybe?
Because of the gloves, because of the way they address the fight, like damage and, you know, and all those stuff. But if you are from like a gym, you train Muay Thai, and then you go watch Muay Thai, I think you should understand RWS more, because there's the clinch, there's the wide crew that you actually have seen.
So I agree with that.
Yeah, but doesn't it seem like a fight for RWS that seems like it's going to be a really long and tiring fight to educate the whole world about, like you said, you need to learn the clinch and you need to learn this and that, and it seems like an endless road right now.
It is, but it also is a competitive edge in that it has something that's exclusive that is not available in MMA. So like you can always find two guys trading strikes, knees and elbows and kicks too in MMA. Or if you just want to see like a slugfest, you can just watch like Gaethje versus Holloway or some shit like that. So but like the thing that
so you're basically saying for a general viewer, not even a fan of sports, just a general viewer would look towards ONE Lumpinee or ONE Championship as an easier viewing experience, whereas maybe a fan of Muay Thai or I say martial arts, that sounds elitist, but maybe a fan of Muay Thai would be more interested in to watch RWS.
Oh, I kind of agree though, because
I think that would be the case.
Thing is that,
and I think ONE would be happy with that.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure,
because they're probably trying to get more people and more views on their concepts of what Muay Thai is. That's their goal.
I think there's been that, you know, when you think about Asia, right? When I do believe that a global idea of people around the world, when they think about Asia, they do think about the culture. You know, it's a big part of Asia is the culture, and if you think about combat sports, whenever you think about Asia and combat sport, you think about kung fu, about this or that, and you do have that culture thing in the back of your head when you think about that sport, right?
Yeah.
But that's the thing, though, isn't it a very interesting thing that, you know, we're trying to take away the culture part of Muay Thai and just make it a very Western, you know, combat sport. When, you know, when people around the world think about Asia, they think about culture. But why do we want to take away that culture? Isn't there a space and a place where we could have both of these combined into putting it a global sport, you know?
That's what we're doing right now, aren't we? That's exactly what we're doing right now.
Sport is culture. Sport is culture, and like I don't think sport can exist without culture. Otherwise, it would just be like just a tourist trap, right? So I feel like it needs to come together. And even though like we talk about one like as if it's like more of an MMA fan based stuff, like there's like fan pages of ONE Lumpinee now. There's like more of a culture of people who do not gamble and actually just wants to watch people trade hands for the entire Friday nights. So I think there is a new culture coming up of people who wants to watch one, but I do not know like how intertwined they are with the actual Muay Thai circuit, because like we were talking downstairs with, you know, Pinui and stuff. My friend wants me, the one that wanted me to ask him for the tickets to the one fight. He doesn't know anyone from like the traditional circuit. He don't know shit about the Muay Thai circuit.
He doesn't follow
not at all.
Muay
but
Thai.
like he follows like the ONE Lumpinee fan pages and stuff, so he knows what ONE Lumpinee is. So, but they are both called Muay Thai, right? So now here's where it gets confusing, because now is he a Muay Thai fan or not? I don't know.
Sounds like he's a one championship fan.
Yeah,
you know,
I
or
agree.
a one Friday night fan.
But like in general, like if you talk to people, they will say that he is a Muay Thai fan.
Well, that's the thing, though. It's like saying, are you a UFC fan or an MMA fan?
Yeah.
Right? Because you're following a company, so you're a UFC fan. And
I think
not an MMA fan.
if you are a fan of One Friday Nights, you can call yourself a Muay Thai fan. It's the same way that if you're a UFC fan, you can call yourself an MMA fan as well.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to separate the two.
No, I agree.
You know,
I agree.
and I think like you got to congratulate ONE on creating that culture of bringing fans in who wouldn't normally necessarily watch 5-round Muay Thai, traditional Muay Thai, and now they're bringing in fans, you know, who wouldn't care less about Muay Thai, and you got to give them credit for that, you know. And like I said, that was their goal, I believe,
100%.
to get more eyes on the sport, which it has done.
We were talking about that a little bit earlier, and look, I think this is the perfect example of you saying he knows ONE. He doesn't necessarily know people in Muay Thai, but he knows ONE. And one of the, I do believe the main reason why is because ONE has been able to build a few global superstars, whether it's through social media and through you know, different platforms. And I do believe this is what's missing in the classic traditional Muay Thai, right?
I think ONE create stars, and I think RWS create fights. I think they're always looking at putting the two best fighters together,
right?
Whereas ONE is just like
every now and then,
let's build Rodtang up.
Yeah,
let's put him against whoever. Let him smash him.
Yeah,
and we'll create a superstar.
100%. And
they did that with Superlek. They pretty much fed Superlek the same opponents as Rodtang. So we got to a point where the start of ONE, people say, "Oh, it'd be nice to see Rodtang versus Superlek," and it just seemed to take forever and ever. And by the end, before they fought, the whole world was saying, "We want to see that fight."
Right.
You know,
right?
Because they build stars.
Yeah,
you know, and they put stamp. Without ONE, right? Can you imagine?
Yeah, no, for fighting sure. Like anymore.
No, exactly. And I would say stamp, and then the next word you think of is dance, and that's all because of the social media machine that is ONE. And they do such a great job of creating superstars and creating stars. RWS, however, is all about who can we put together to create the fight, right? You know,
is it
as a Muay Thai fan?
No, for sure.
Great, that's great for me.
That's what we love,
because we know these fighters already,
right?
You know, whereas ONE, they're like, well, if we build up Rodtang and we build up the myth of Rodtang, then people who are not Muay Thai fans, who you were talking about, are now becoming Muay Thai fans.
But I feel like that also is able to be done because there aren't as many educated Muay Thai fans, you know. So like, let's say if you make a lot of squash matches, I don't think that it's going to be working as well if everyone knows who exactly every single opponent Rodtang facing is.
No, but eventually it does build up to a crescendo where he fights Superlek, right?
Yeah.
Which the rating for that Superlek versus Rodtang fight was absolutely amazing. Crazy. It was insane. Now they could have put, if that was RWS, they would have put Rodtang and Superlek together after the second week. Yeah, and they would have got half the viewership.
The argument is, would the hype would have been that great? Would the hype for the fighter would have been that great if everyone didn't respect the opponents that he had beaten? You know what I mean?
Like, well, I mean, let's be honest.
If Rodtang beats someone, he beats them. I don't look down on him for taking a fight that's given to him.
For sure. And you
he
saying
doesn't
that
pick
is
the fights.
That was 100%. It's not looking down on the fighters. Of course, whoever they put in front of him, they fight them. But there's been certain opponents that Rodtang or Superlek have fought that were not their own caliber. They were just way...
Yeah, they were not ready for them.
They were not ready for them.
But
and also that was
fighters.
Part of the build-up.
They're prize fighters. Their job is to go into that ring and win.
And I'm with you on that this is what ONE has been doing, and that's they've been doing an amazing job, is building up fights. And again, that's
not even Rodtang and Superlek and Stamp who were talking about the faces of the and Tawanchai, sorry.
Yeah.
Thongpoon, you know?
Right.
Just I don't say a nobody, but someone
he
who
wasn't like the top of the...
No, he was no one.
He was never part of the conversation about Muay Thai.
And all of a sudden, he embraced Friday night, right? And he became a little bit of a star. And that got him onto the big show.
So does that mean that is RWS lacking of a social media training or social media work onto those fighters to create stars, or is this because of the model that they're trying to do?
Well, this is where the old style meets the new style, right?
Right.
Because I think like a fan of Muay Thai will be like, oh, it doesn't matter about social media. Who cares?
But they don't see the urgency in that at all.
But it does.
Oh, it does, for sure.
You were telling me, when you went to Glory, when was that? 2000?
That was 7-8 years ago. And they had a social media training before. So and I do believe that it's like this in most promotions, including ONE, because my brother fought in ONE before.
Of course.
So after the rules meeting about the promotion, general rules, recap about how they score, whatever, they usually have a 10-15 minutes social media training talking about the, why is it important for them to, have appearance on social media, what they should do, what they shouldn't be doing, just a brief recap about basic stuff. And they always have a team open about after the meeting and saying, look, if you have any questions, how you want to build your platform, whatever question you have, just feel free to come and ask the team. And I do believe this might be something that, the classic Muay Thai, including RWS, is not, because RWS is doing an amazing job on their own platform. Like, let's be honest, like the platform of RWS is amazing because they're putting some of the best fighters, but on the platform of the fighters of RWS, it's pretty bad. Like, we have some of the top fighters. They have, like 1,000 followers.
Kunsuklek.
Kunsuklek. He's got
prime example, right?
Yeah.
Arguably the pound for pound great. And
when you look at it, like he is unbeaten for 41 fights. He should be,
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. And for a lot of people, so here's the thing. The mindset of a lot of fighters is they believe they will become popular when they win, right? So they're giving themselves 9 minutes time to become famous, where they have 24 hours every single day to become somebody, but they chose those 9 minutes. And like you just said, 41 fights, 41 wins, and yet he still has just a few thousand followers, and it's pretty sad.
And that stems from the culture actually shifting, because without the ones and RWS, with the traditional circuit, if you only win, then you're big in that circuit.
Right.
And if you are big in that circuit, then your purse gets higher just from how good you are. But if you go to the entertainment scene, they don't really, which is like links to the part where I talked about the culture of the sport before, where in like the top promotions, people just want to see a spectacle when they tune in. They just want to see quick content where they can see something like they tune into this fight. They know this person's dancing and she's going to win the fight and stuff. So it takes an entirely different skill set to get big in rather than traditional circuit.
But is it though? Because if you go back in history, we had fighters like Ramba. We had so many fighters that were entertaining before the entertainment of the sport.
Very true.
Yeah, but like in the old days, Ramba wasn't more famous than Samad, right? But in these days, Samad wouldn't be as famous as Ramba. So it's a flip opposite.
That's also a good point.
So the entertainment is becoming, especially when you run the sport without the culture actually deeply following the sport, it makes a room for stuff like this to happen.
But I think with any combat sport, maybe any sport, when you know more about the fighters, when you get to see more of their personality, it makes it so much more interesting to watch their fights.
It does.
You know, absolutely. If you know just even a little bit about a fighter, you're gonna tune in.
And if you think about
it,
and
you start to invest and you start to like them
100%.
or hate them.
Yeah,
that's just as marketable, you know.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Floyd Mayweather is, you know, like a lot of people would say, a boring fighter, like an artist, right? Yeah. One of the best ever,
right?
Doesn't get touched. Fights some of the best
Great
fighters.
on social media, that's for sure.
Amazing on social media. Changed his whole persona from being pretty boy to being arrogant to Money Mayweather, right? To being the bad guy. And everyone was tuning in to see him lose.
Right.
Effectively.
Yeah.
You know, and that's pretty much how he became the megastar that he is.
No, for sure.
Just turning up your personality a little bit.
100%.
You know, so people decide to invest in you and tune in to see if you win or lose.
Again, like you said, I think it's the same in every sports, right? If you talk about football, the most followed man on Instagram is Cristiano Ronaldo.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. So it's like, you know,
but the starting point is you have to be good.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
You have to be good.
But that should be part of that should be like just the basic of it. But if you think about it, like, look, we work in this industry. There's a new championship fight every single week. We get to see some of the best every weeks. We get to see the best all the time. And yet we can, a year from now, 2 years from now, 10 years from now, we will only remember just a few of them.
Yeah.
Because we will have forgotten about, you know, their skills, and because there's no personalities that are, you know, pushed for us to remember as well.
Well, heading back to Samad, Tawanchai as well. I think I'm assuming Tawanchai's got an agent, because now he's doing what Buakaw did. You know,
he has to.
He's advertising things, and you see him on billboards and stuff.
Yeah,
right. I mean, he's good. He's obviously got the looks as well to go with it. But I'm trying to think of a fighter on RWS who's like put themselves out there that much.
You're saying Lamnamoonlek is not good looking.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like where you get to know them, where they have like a persona, like Rodtang. Right?
The thing about Rodtang, I want to add a layer to this. I feel like it's so weird because in Muay Thai culture, you don't like arrogant people, right? Like, there's a guy called Chat Ploy, if you guys know him. He is an absolute dickhead and he's proud of it. And everyone hates him and everyone likes to see him lose. But like, Rodtang was in a similar boat before, right? Before
it was like this. Yeah. Rodtang, you know, you talked about fighters only becoming like that in the entertainment shows. Rodtang was entertaining in the traditional circuit.
And people hated him for it too.
Yeah.
So
it was similar to Tyson Fury as well.
Yeah.
British people were turning on him because he was deemed to be arrogant. Yeah. You know, like it happens.
When Rodtang went to ONE and then the international fans started to see him, they saw him as intimidating, as scary, as a monster.
But that's
Thai people see him as like this arrogant teenager who's annoying. So it's so weird where like the culture of Muay Thai thinks one thing, the international culture thinks one thing, but like he ends up being a star because of it. Like it's such a weird thing to see. Like,
but that's part of one championship grabbing a hold of him, right? And then fine tuning the marketing that fits his persona as well.
So now it turns out that Thai people see him as a genius now because he is now famous internationally.
Well, yeah.
Look, we're talking about him.
Exactly.
I don't even know
personality.
If he's a genius.
You know, personality.
Well, I think more than just becoming a genius, I do believe that it's just the fact that he dared to put out his real personality out there for the world to see and know him more than what all the fighters are doing. Like, look, like, come on, every single week after the championship fight, I go on the ring, I interview the fighters, they all answer the same way. What's next for you? Just became the champion, just won $1 million baht. I don't know,
you
up
have
to the
one boring
promoters.
job.
Like, come on, man, just give me something, you know?
And
Every
I feel
week
like it's
the
because
same.
of the, like, how they were raised in their upbringing.
Absolutely, of course, yeah.
For
That's
sure.
part of culture, you know, being humble.
Yeah, and like the way we are presenting them, we want them to be stars. You know, I think Chatri also said like you want to build heroes, quote unquote.
Yeah.
In Thailand, they weren't built to be heroes. They were built to fight for their headmen, and they were bought for or sold for, and the purse they get through like the headmen. So like, it's a very different culture that they come from.
No, for sure.
And the
Absolutely.
way, so like, Thai fighters are going to have a harder time adapting and becoming better internationally, because not only do they have to
More well-known
consistently
internationally.
not only do they need to consistently beat the foreigners that put against them, they have to do it in good fashion, and then they also have to reverse the way of their thinking and become more of a star in order to do so. So like, it takes such a big leap for them. So it's, let's say another
100%. We agree with what you're saying. We're just saying for ONE and RWS, there is differences there. The way that they are marketing the two and how they're bringing out the personalities in the
at
fighters.
the end, if you want to market as an entertainment Muay Thai show, you need to market it the way ONE is doing, or like
You agree with what ONE are doing? You think that's a smart move to push the fighters the way they have done?
What I want, what my dream ideal scenario is that
Go on, we're all listening.
the culture of Muay Thai is actually pushed to a level where you do not need to have this extravagant gimmick. You do not need to have this vibrant colored hair in order to be famous. You don't need to tap your chin on your own every time during the fight. I want people to actually want to see the best versus the best. I think that's the most sustainable way of growing
that's what we enjoy.
Yeah.
But I guess the argument against that is, would that be enough for the modern world?
But isn't that the same for every single fighting promotion? Everybody wants to see the best versus the best, and yet the fight is still going to be more entertaining if there's a build up to the best versus the best.
I think the entertainment is the cherry on top, but like, I think the culture needs to be pushed to a certain level where fans are educated enough that they're an actual fan of the sport rather than of the fighters or of the promotion. I want people to actually want to watch good Muay Thai. So that's my end goal. How we are going to get there, I do not know. Who is going to push them there?
Is it important for you?
It is, because like, I am so sick of seeing fighters become good and not famous because their hair color is their natural hair color. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I know what you're saying. Yes, I know what you're saying.
But
do you not understand why?
I understand, but I do not want at the end where all the good fighters are just the ones who are entertaining, you know. I want good fighters to be good fighters and good fighters to be known. And I can see why there would be like even favoritism for fighters who are marketable, who are entertaining. But at the end, I feel like we're pushing too much towards the entertainment direction.
Well, I kind of disagree with you though, because look at Tawanchai. He doesn't do anything extravagant, except from the fact that he's good looking, he's got a good body. But a lot of fighters are good looking with a good body as well. And he doesn't trash talk, he doesn't do any of that. But I do believe that it's the fact that the way he answers and chooses words are, makes him look like he's a different fighter. He's kind of showing what he's got inside. And of course he's got the skills. He's definitely,
you could probably say the same for Superlek as well. He's not all his mantra is hard work. When you see him on social media, he's smashing pads,
right?
And he's not going around doing.
And just you talking about that, fighters showing how good they are in training. And I do believe this is what fighters from ONE have been doing, which they're not showing anything else but their training. But a lot of fighters in RWS are not even doing that. You go on their social media and they're showing themselves with like, a chicken or whatever, which is fine. They're showing a personal life, but it's also like, is it what people want to see or not?
I'm glad you said chicken and not cock. That's all I'm saying.
Well, you said it. God damn it. I mean, like we talk about Kunstwerk, and I want to see how did he become so good? How does he train? What does he do on a daily basis? And we can't get to see that. And this is why it makes it so hard for us to, wants to get to know that person more,
But I get where you're coming from. Like the fact that he's been so, I wouldn't even say good, just brilliant in the ring.
Right.
In your ideal dream scenario, that should be enough for people to gravitate towards him and want to watch him. And you know what? Yeah. Even though he is 41-0, I feel like that is happening a little bit more and more. Maybe not as fast as you want it to, but there is now a little bit of a mystique around Superlek that wasn't there before he did fight on RWS. Or maybe it was, but just it's been elevated a little bit because of RWS.
About it and stuff.
Yeah, and the fact that he beat Kumandoi and he beat Petchyindee as well.
Yeah,
he's fighting the best. So,
well,
if they did it the social media way, he would get there quicker. But if he continues to fight the way he does, he will get to a point that you want, where he will be elevated by the fact that he's just so damn good in the ring.
Well, that's the thing, though. How do you rate who's the best fighter? The level of fighters are based on opinions. Yeah. Opinions are changing because of build-ups, which is why build-ups are important. You would never have seen certain fighters fight certain fights in, whether it's MMA or boxing, whatever, without the build-up, because you would have believed that was never the right level. Floyd Mayweather would have never fought Conor McGregor without the build-up, because they're never on the same level. And yet half of the world believed that Conor could win that fight, right?
Crazy.
So build-ups, but build opinions. Talking about that, what's your opinion on who's the best pound-for-pound fighter in Muay Thai right now?
I feel we've just mentioned him, but I can't see past Superlek. I really can't. How 41-0, and the way that he fights, it's him. I get the other argument for that would be, I think, Superlek, but does he fight enough? Obviously,
so you would put Superlek above Rodtang?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, you?
I don't think so. I'd still put Rodtang above Superlek right now.
Even though he beat him?
Yeah, but he beat him at a different weight.
Yeah,
because he missed weight.
Barely counts.
I know, I agree with that as well. There is an asterisk, but I think Superlek is pound for pound. I think he's better than Rodtang. But so I would want to see that fight again. And I keep saying that. So you would put
Superlek below Superlek right now as a pound for pound?
Yeah, I would say Superlek is number one. Yeah. Thoughts?
I'll just say Superlek too, because like activity is a big thing for me, as I watch a lot of traditional Muay Thai, and like for the fighter of the year for the previous year that was just given out, Superlek wasn't even a nominee because they don't consider one fights.
Absolutely.
And without the one fights, he only had three fights, right?
I think he had 3 fights in one championship.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And then 2 fights traditionally.
So like 2 fights per year, like outside would be enough to, but like as a Muay Thai fan and like with the culture of how you view fighters, activity is a very big thing. And I don't think so it's weird because no one fighter is going to have like 10 fights a year, right? So if we go by that logic, no one fighter is going to be a fighter of the year. So this is why it's so hard to have these conversations.
Should you count, when you rate the pound for pound best, should you count the impact of each fight, right? Because you talk about Superlek, he's had a lot more fights than fighters like Superlek, but the impact of his fight and Superlek's fight are completely different. Like Superlek winning or losing a fight is a life-changing one because he could be getting 10 million baht or not getting 10 million baht.
Yeah, but that's just the promotion, though. Like if we're talking,
but that's the pressure that's behind a fighter. If
we're talking about the difficulty or the level of the fight, I feel like Kumandoi is like better than nearly everyone Superlek has faced in very recent years.
Including Rodtang?
Yeah.
Really?
He's more active. Kumandoi is like very active. Rodtang is like barely trains.
And the thing about Kumandoi as well, we're talking about pound for pound.
Yeah.
He fluctuates so much between the weight classes as well.
He's a balloon, bro.
He will just go up and down.
He fights at like 113 and then goes and like he fought Tenchin at like nearly 130.
Yeah. He fought Petzilla at 119. Fought Superlek at 118. Yeah.
Bro, why is Tawanchai not part of the picture in the pound for pound best though?
in the picture, yeah, but not at the top. I
don't even remember Tawanchai's latest fight. So
he beat Superbon.
Yeah, but Superbon's a kickboxer though. Like lately, like not 10 years ago.
Yeah,
was the last 2 fights beating Joe and beating Superbon? Yeah,
and barely beat Joe too. So I think it's a bit hard to argue for him right now.
But are you looking? Are you looking at recently? Or are you not considering?
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say too. Like if we go by name value, like in Thailand, it's the word like name value.
Yeah.
Prajanchai is probably number one then. You know what I mean? Because like he beaten everyone. He beat like the latest Rajadamnern champion, Petchyindee. Prajanchai schooled him like a child.
Yeah.
So no one touches him. Ronachai, who won Fighter of the Year the year after Prajanchai beaten him. Bro, Ronachai backstage at Channel 7, he literally said, quote unquote, I saw 3 Prajanchais after. So that's how good he is. So if we're going only by name value, then Prajanchai is probably like the best in the circuit right now. But is he active enough? Is fighting this version of Same or Lasiri enough? Like,
well, yeah, I mean, he did lose against Lasiri as well.
Yeah, he did.
Even though he said he was sick.
Exactly.
I guess he was, but he did lose the fight.
So shouldn't the best pound for pound should be rated not necessarily by activity, but by,
who they
difficulties to find them suitable opponents? Because if you think about, okay, this is the best pound for pound, it's because no matter who you put in front of him, he's going to beat them. Shouldn't it be that?
Well, if that's the case, then Superlek is 41 and 40 and 1, isn't he? He got his one draw. But yeah, anyway, going back to the answer, I'm going to say Superlek. I'm still, nothing can change my mind on that right now.
Yeah, I'm just going to go Superlek right now too because of activity and the opponents he's faced, also name value. I think if we look at all 3 criteria evenly, I think no one tops him right now. If
we were talking, we're flipping back between like stadium fighters, one fighters, RWS.
Right.
If we were to create like a dream card scenario. Now, I'm not going to talk about whether it's going to be 4-ounce gloves or regular gloves inside Lumpinee in Rajadamnern. I'm just saying, if we put 2 fighters together, let's start at...
Can you not talk about those factors too, though?
I mean, you can as part of... Well, if you want to, but we could be here all night if we do that.
Let's go by the name value first.
All right, so if we go... Let's say it's 125, isn't it, at 126 at featherweight. Who would you put together as like a dream fight?
Prajanchai from 1 for sure.
100%.
126.
Now, would you put Prajanchai down to try and get him back to 122 and ask Superlek to go up for them to meet?
Nah, he's a different weight. That's like...
Yeah. Well, that's what everyone on social media was talking about recently. That's what got...
I'm gonna put my hand on fire to that. That was stupid. that was like 2
No,
weight
I said
classes.
the same thing when you sent me that. I was like, silly.
That's stupid. They're different weight. Like Superlek is fighting at 118. Prajanchai is fighting at 126. Come on.
I think there's 2 obvious opponents for Prajanchai, and that is either View or Yothin. Muay Thai Testament. Who would you choose?
The fight with Yothin they were actually booked to fight before, and it was a very big fight, and I was really looking forward to that. Fell through. I don't think Yothin is a bit older. Like in
how old's Prajanchai though?
I think Yothin
has
a bigger chance of beating Prajanchai because View is gonna try to femur him, right? Like, try to outskill him. Prajanchai is like quicker than anyone.
All right, so we go in Yothin versus Prajanchai.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
Yeah. Yothin, Prajanchai.
Well, let's skip 130 because it doesn't really exist in one. We'll go to 135.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious, right? Rodtang and Lamnamoonlek.
That's for me, yes.
Easy.
Well, Lamnamoonlek versus Superlek was a very big possibility in the stadiums at one point. So, like, if we're going by stadium rules, I want to see that fight more. If we're going by, like, small gloves or, like, stuff like that, then I want to see the Rodtang fight more.
Okay. All right.
They don't have 140?
They don't have 140, but why don't we pick Superlek as 140? Because
I agree.
He struggled to make 135. His next fight's at 140.
He's got a new nutritionist now. He's not fat anymore.
Well, he's moving up to 145.
Oh, yeah, he's fighting Haggerty anyway.
So what about this? 140.
Superlek
versus Capitan.
Yeah.
That was also another fight that they wanted to happen. I think a bit too late, but still a very good fight. Yeah.
I think Superlek would probably just edge it based on the fact that Capitan's closer to the end of his career, but I would not write off Capitan.
Yeah, because it always seems like whenever you think he's gonna lose,
exactly,
he wins.
Yeah,
so he's got that thing. But that'll be a great fight.
I think Superlek would probably edge it, but that's a great fight between 2 fighters who've done a lot for the sport. You know, have always fought well,
good.
always like, you know, looked after in a sort of way of Muay Thai. And I think to put those two together would be incredible. I really do.
I think if that fight happens, Superlek is gonna try to stay on the other side and fight him the way Thongpoon beat Capitan.
I love the way this guy's his brain is working right now. Where he's seeing them both in the ring. It's fantastic.
Dude, I watch Muay Thai. You know how Superlek fought what's his name? Walter Gonzalez or something. Goncalves with the elbows. I think he's gonna try to do like something like that if he was to fight Capitan, but like he was gonna stay more on the outside. I think he's a bit bigger. Yeah, it's gonna be like a decent fight, but I still think Superlek.
How about 145?
All right, so
who do you pick from one first?
Well, from 145, I'd probably just go Haggerty.
Yeah. Haggerty. I agree.
Because he's the champion.
Who are there in 145? There's Haggerty, there's Nico, there's
Nong-O.
Lobo doesn't
Sima Pet.
No, like just those three, I think.
Okay.
You gotta put Haggerty, man. He's the number one right now.
I feel like if I put on Nico, he's gonna be like, I don't know.
Well, Nico hasn't proven that yet, so still gotta be Haggerty.
No, wait. Let's go back to what you said about Nico.
So if I feel like we choose from the RWS side, if we choose a smaller fighter.
Well, let's say RWS or Stadium against Nico or whoever you want. It doesn't have to necessarily have fought on RWS. It's just a Stadium fighter at that weight.
Who's 145 in Thailand?
So we've Hercules, Tapaokaew.
Yeah. So we'll count the 147 as a 145.
Yeah.
You can
choose a fight. You can choose a fight to move up from 140.
Yeah, then I'll go Tapaokaew, right?
Yeah.
Because and then I'll go.
Based on the fact that Tapaokaew struggles against punches. I mean, he got knocked out against.
So him in big gloves and small gloves.
He is.
I don't think that matters, to be honest. To me, if you put Tapaokaew against Haggerty, big gloves, small gloves, Tapaokaew is gonna have a tough night against Haggerty.
Really?
Oh yeah.
The thing is though,
if he gets him in the clinch, Haggerty is probably dead. But in the process,
he is that fighter where you can say his style is really affected more so than any other fighter when it comes to 4 rounds gloves versus big gloves. He got knocked out against Tyson Harrison, right? In one championship.
Yeah.
He's the Rajadamnern Stadium champion now due to the fact that he could defend his position with using those regular gloves.
And it's not just the gloves too, it's also the time in the clinch and how the clincher scored.
Yeah.
So like as we were saying about Max before, where if you take your and like the little stuff like that, it doesn't exist in one though. So so
this is where it becomes difficult.
This is the one where
100% because of the style.
Do you know what I would probably throw in? Chujaran. I think he's highly underrated in Muay Thai. Chujaran.
Really,
I do. He's never really got to that level where he's a superstar. But he's fought some of the biggest names in the sport.
Yeah,
I did an interview with him, and at the time he wanted to go to ONE, like before the Petchyindee and ONE thing. And he said, like, I fought Tawanchai, I fought, like, all the Jitmangnon guys, all the PK guys, all the
he's beat them all.
guys.
He's fought them all.
Yeah, he fought them all, but he still... Well, at that time, he couldn't go to ONE for some reason, while the rest from the big gyms already went to ONE. And he was a bit annoyed about that, too.
Can I just go... I'm going to go back now to, let's say, 2016. These are his opponents since then, right? So, let's start with Satan Fa, Rafi Bowick, Yod Padamrung, Ritiwadar again, Thananchai. He's fought Tawanchai, Sangmani, Nunglanglek, Petpanamrong 3 times, 4 times, Rungkit, Rankau. I mean, Tapaokaew he just beat as well.
Yeah.
He fights.
If we're talking,
he's always fought the best fighters, but he never really gets enough recognition.
Why didn't we think about Ritiwadar though?
Because he now fights at 154.
Yeah. Unofficially, yes, because it hasn't happened yet.
We could.
No, but the last time...
Wait. We didn't say this. If it's let's say Haggerty moves up to 147, there's a certain fighter by the name of Yodwicha who's contemplating moving down to 147. If those two met,
I feel
that could be a banger.
The thing is, I feel like Chujaran, Tapaokaew, Yodwicha, no matter who you put against either Haggerty or Nico, it's going to be like the similar fight, which is whether you can clinch him or not.
But I don't believe that.
But I don't know if Yodwicha now we still think of him as a clincher, but
he's not.
He doesn't really fight like that anymore, you know.
Well, Yodwicha would be the best option if they were to fight in the rules where.
Okay, so if we had a pick, because we've been going around that. If we had to pick one fight for the 145. We'll put it 145 pounds. One from ONE and one from RWS. Who do we put?
All right, so we're all agreeing on Haggerty?
I agree with Haggerty.
At this moment in time, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know if Yodwicha can make it down.
Nah, I don't think
so. I'm just going to throw Chujaran in.
Really?
Just for a bit of fun.
I'll go Tapaokaew.
I'll go Tapaokaew too because Chujaran struggles more against punches than Tapaokaew usually does.
Think about Chujaran as well. I think he's had a few fights against foreign competitors in Muay Thai, and I think he's beat them all.
Right.
Yeah. Just to add some salt and pepper onto that.
That'd be great. All right, moving on to 154. I guess it's pretty clear that from ONE we should be going with Tawanchai.
100%.
How about 154 RWS? I'm going with Daniel.
I'm going with Daniel. Thananchai though, the way that he's fought recently.
Yeah. Nah, I'm going Daniel no matter what.
Too.
Well, Ritiwada
hasn't proven.
he hasn't proven himself that way. So
Thananchai. So it's between
Thananchai.
Thananchai and Daniel. For name value, I guess Daniel it would be like if we were a promoter, would be a bigger fight.
Yes.
Stylistically,
that would be more boring as well. Stylistically, Tawanchai against.
Daniel. Yeah.
Daniel then,
because there's the same level anyway, so we just go by
entertainment
and name
Daniel,
value.
Yeah. Great fight. Great matchups.
I want to
but they will never happen. We understand that.
Unless either one or another moves promotion. But if we're talking about cross promotion, I don't think that would ever happen. Unfortunately for us.
Yeah.
What if one day ONE Championship runs out of contract with Lumpinee and they want to start a conversation where ONE Championship starts doing fights in Rajadamnern? Could that be possible?
You need to get bank on here, bro. You need to get bank on here.
Ask us.
What do you think, though? Do you think it's...
Well, I don't know. What would they...
I don't think it's possible as of now because of the image that Rajadamnern has built for themselves. This is Muay Thai, this is Rajadamnern, right?
Yeah.
And
but that's RWS. That's not Rajadamnern.
Well, if you take like a company that has said that they want to take out certain parts of Thai to promote to the outside, to the place where they want to promote the Thai to the outside, then it's like so contradictory. The marketing team's gonna have like
I mean, even the glove issue straight away,
right?
You know, would they allow?
Well, I mean, is that part of the question there? Because they're gonna have a police fight next week.
That's true.
Policemen fighting each other.
Yeah, that's weird.
Another day in Muay Thai.
So. Yeah, we might as well just say on the 28th, there's an MMA show where it's...
Apparently...
It's an MMA?
I believe it's MMA rules. I can't 100%
No one knows what's going on. Our
yet.
cops are fighting themselves. Good luck.
Cops from around Thailand are all meeting together to have MMA fights, we believe, inside Rajadamnern on the 28th.
So weird.
Bizarre, yeah.
Bizarre.
Randomly. But
welcome to Muay Thai.
It got publicity though, right?
We got prison fights. We got... guys from poverty fighting for money. We got
that's what happens if
authority.
Whoever loses has to go to prison.
Oh damn, that'd be crazy! Holy crap! I think we're going.
Nah, the stakes are too high.
I don't know.
Yeah, way too high. All right, well, I think we went over pretty much every single subjects we wanted to talk about.
There is one thing is that there's huge fights happening on the 23rd. Which might actually, the podcast might be released after these fights.
It might be. What's the date today?
20th. So in 3 days,
it might be released after. Yeah. Unfortunately,
we'll see you guys when Petchyindee already won on the Petchyindee show.
Yeah. Well, we can actually just talk about the whole concept lastly before we end the podcast because it's getting a little bit over the time we prepared. But so right now on Petchyindee shows they're having an app for you to watch the fights, which is kind of going along the way with how the sport is slowly evolving, you know, having different platforms and different apps. And you talked about a very interesting point on that app that you can do.
I heard that, I don't know if it's going to start in this event or not, but at least it's in the plans or in the near future where you can, you know how gamblers like to gamble and give the fighters bonuses and
injections.
The injections are the main source of income for fighters. They're trying to push for an online way to give fighters cash injections.
So let's say I'm watching the fight on the app, and if I want to give a donation to that fighter during the fight, I can do it through the app. Is that what you're saying, right?
Yes.
There must be one tip.
Yeah.
Something like
that's
that.
Something like that. If you put it that way, that's a donation. That's a tip for the fighter, right?
Yeah, so how it's going to play out is I'm watching, let's say I watch Petchyindee and he's like behind. I want to motivate him, instigate him. I click this button. I'm gonna put in 10K if he wins. And I assume that the fighters are gonna know.
Yeah, somebody's gonna tell him, I guess.
And then by the time he wins the fight, then
you'll get
the money.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
So 2024.
That's awesome. I love that.
You don't like it?
Nah, I'm just weirded by it.
All right.
I love it. I think this is.
No, I'm with you. Yeah.
Great.
Anything that benefits the fighters financially.
For sure. Yeah.
No, for sure.
But no, because these big shows that obviously Petchyindee or Bolt is pushing, they were non-televised. But obviously now through the app, you can watch them.
Right.
For pay-per-view, yeah.
Do you know how much it is?
The smaller shows are 29 baht. The one that we are talking about is, I think, 89.
Shouldn't they be making a monthly subscription though?
I don't think there's a monthly subscription. I think the idea towards the whole app is that they want to make it as easy to use for the familiarity of the users. So like they are more used to paying for the tickets, so they pay for each event.
Well, I would have thought I would have been a monthly subscription.
But the UI is very Thai website, Thai sport website oriented.
I mean, they just started, so they probably don't have $1 million to invest into the app yet. So maybe it'll slowly get there.
It's like the second show, like the second big show they're doing.
I think as well on the app, they also give links to whatever live show is happening at that time.
Okay.
So say RWS is on Saturday night.
Okay.
It'll, if you go on the app, it'll show that RWS is playing, so you can click on that. But it just sends you to the live link. I think I'm right in saying that.
Wow.
I don't think you can watch it.
That's great.
Well, the app,
either way, if we're giving any misinformations and the app wants to sponsor our podcast to give the right informations, please feel free to contact
You need
us.
to get Mr. Sebot on here.
Yeah, I need to call him after that and be like, yo, we talked about your...
Oh, yeah, you did.
I did interview him.
Yeah, but on that fight card, sorry, just before you went, it's Duan versus
Chalam 3.
Yeah. Is there any betting going on? Because last time there was a... you remember...
Can I look at the
fight card? Of course, absolutely, yeah. Because it's stacked. It is an incredible fight card.
It is a great fight card. Like I said, unfortunately, I don't know if it will be released before or after. But this is definitely going to be... If you're a fan of traditional Muay Thai, that's definitely going to be a show you don't want to miss. Yeah. Either way, if you get to watch this before, make sure you go. If you have already seen the fight, well, let us know how great the fights were. And I think...
these cards never disappoint anyway, so I don't think it can go wrong for you, to be honest.
Yeah. Right. All right. Well, I think we're good with the show for today. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we will see you guys again next week. Thank you guys for being on the show, and see you next week. We're done. Wait, I need to do this thing. That was pretty bad.
So gimmick.
That was pretty bad. That was pretty bad.